This tutorial will cover making a motion graphic in Apple's Motion. So you're going to click on Motion, and the first window that appears may look like this, or it may ask you if you want to start with a new project. You're going to want to get to this window, starting a new project, and you're most of the time going to be selecting Broadcast HD 720p. That'll give you a 16:9 box to work with. So we select that and say OK, and that's going to open up Motion. Now the Motion window has three windows. Well, it has two major windows open, and you can open up other windows like the layers and the timeline here to show you how your effects are being applied across time. We're not going to cover in depth today how to get through Motion. We just want to simply make a title and then make it move. So the first thing I'll do is save the project. I'm going to go to File, Save As, and I'm going to put it in my project folder, my home icon. And we'll just put it in the folder that I made and call this the date, last name, and motion text, and save it. So you'll see that it's been named right here. And then the first thing I want to do is make some text. So if I click on the T icon, that's the text tool, I can click anywhere in this window and begin typing. So we're going to add our first and last name. And now that we have text on the screen, if you click to the arrow, it'll become an object. So it's no longer text, now it's treated as an object. And this object can be scaled by dragging on these keyframe points. You could also rotate if you'd like. I'm going to undo that, Command Z all the way back to make it look like the normal text. And then to select an object, you can click on it. Once the object is selected, you'll be able to go in and go through the different parameters for the object in the inspector. So these three tabs here will cover an object that is selected, showing the different parameters here, and then the file browser is going to show any files that you can add to the canvas. The library is going to give you the option to add different types of particles or behaviors to an object that's selected. So I'm going to add a behavior, and specifically a text sequence behavior, to this piece of text. So once you click on text sequence, you'll see a variety of folders that have the different sequences available once you click the down arrow. So you'll see the preview above, and I like the fly in lines one, so I'm going to choose that one. And once you like a behavior, you can apply it. So you'll see that it's been added to the front part of this timeline, and if you want to see what the text is going to do, you can click play or hit the space bar. I have to click into the time bar first. Space bar. So that's going to fly in. And I'm also going to make sure I show my safe zones, and I'll zoom out, Command minus, so you can see the full screen. So on the inside of the inside box. I also want to make this text a little bit larger, so I'm going to make sure that my text is selected, and if I go into my inspector, that's where I can start to change different things in the text. So we want to make sure we get to the point where it's the largest. And we're also going to click from this X and drag it to center on the screen. And it's slightly too large, so I'll drag it down a little bit. Now if you hit play, it should zoom in and end up on screen. So if you don't want to see any of the overlay or showing that selection, we're going to select don't show the overlays. That's view, show or not show overlays in this case. And then this is what our composite will look like now. Once we hit play, it will zoom in, and that is the motion applied to my text. Now I'd like to get this into Final Cut Pro. So what I'm going to do is say File, Export, and I'm going to put it in the same folder for this project, and I'm going to leave it with the same name. It's well named, and it's going to export a QuickTime movie to the folder that I select. And I'm going to leave it with the current project and canvas setting. So once I export this, it'll take a couple seconds, and I'll go frame by frame and export the video. And then I'm going to import this video into Final Cut Pro and put it at the top of my timeline. Okay, so it pops up here, and then I can preview it here if I'd like. This is just a preview of what we've made, and it's a little glitchy right now. And I'm actually going to close this and just open it up in Final Cut Pro. Actually, import it into Final Cut Pro. So we'll quit motion and go to Final Cut. Once we're in Final Cut, we're going to import the file that we just exported from Motion. So I will hit Command I or File Import, and then Files, or just Command I. And then I'm going to go into my home icon and the folder that I placed it in, and here is my file, and choose it. That'll end up on my browser, and then I'm going to drag it, and in this case I want it to appear in front of everything, so I'm going to insert it. It's with the right arrow on my timeline, and then play it back. Needs to be rendered first. We will render just this. Command R. Once it's been rendered, you can watch the final effect. So play with the spacebar, and here's our moving text. And we will also double check and it's title safe.